回までのあらすじ。
君、バックフリップやってみて。
一か八か。
バックフリップもできるし、アイスショーの世界に行きなよ。
嫌です。
どうせヒカルが全部金メダル取るんだし、コーチとかやめなって。
嫌です。
皆さん、こんにちは。ハナです。今日、メダリスト第19話を見ています。来週の週末はまた試合に出るので、投稿が遅くなります。また競技に出られることがとても楽しみです。皆さん、見てくれてありがとうございます。The Tsukasa and Jun situation was quite an interesting scene. It took me a while to kind of internalize what actually happened. I didn't really talk much about it outside of the fact that there seemed to be, the rivalry between the two of them is getting built up. I didn't mention the backflip, which I know a lot of people are interested in, so I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. First things first, I have never done a backflip, nor have I ever skated with people who have done them. The backflip has been banned in competition for a very long time. It was unbanned only like 2 seasons ago. And the reason that it was banned in the first place was because it was deemed not safe due to the fact that they would be flipping with their head facing the ice, and many times these skaters are putting them at the end of their programs when they're fatigued. It's just a little bit more dangerous. It wasn't until Adam Xiaohunfa knew that it was illegal, did it anyway, took the 2-point deduction for an illegal element that they decided to allow it back into competition, and now only Ilya Malinin from the United States and Adam Xiaohunfa from France do it in competition. I've yet to see anyone else try it. For the record, there are quite a few other skaters that do them in shows. I know for a fact I've seen Nathan Chen do it. I've seen, who else? I've seen a lot of people do it, but I can't think of their names off the top of my head. But it is a pretty common show trick. But because I have grown up in an area where you don't really see many international level skaters, I have never skated with someone who has attempted it, nor have I ever done it. I have heard that it's fairly easy to do if you can land triples. It's only one rotation. You just have to turn the other way, like you're turning perpendicular to the ice instead of parallel to the ice. So from what I've heard, it's not necessarily the most difficult element. It's just a bit dangerous for like trying on your first go around by yourself. I've seen skaters like post videos of them practicing where they start with the help of like a spotter and like in a harness and off the ice and that sort of thing, and they build up to it. So what Tsukasa did, being able to just do it for the first time and land on his feet and be okay, is very impressive, especially because I don't think Tsukasa has triples. I believe the jump he was working on in the last episode, like very consistently throughout, his time skating with the two of them, it was a Lutz. It was either a double or a single. So he was an ice dancer, so he can't land a triple jump, I'm sure of it. So him being able to do that is very, very impressive. And June calling that out and telling him he should do shows instead of coaching, I think there's 2 reasons for this. Number one is he did genuinely think Tsukasa is very talented. He genuinely is saying like, I can 100% say you are talented. However, I personally think June is also, on the flip side, maybe trying to separate Inori and Tsukasa. He mentioned that Hikaru, he wants her to just win everything she does. Well, that's not ever a guarantee. No matter how talented or how good your skater is, competitions are competitions, and mistakes are going to happen even from the best of the best, like Kaori Sakamoto at the Olympics. Having that one mistake on that flip cost her the gold medal when she was heavily favored. Hikaru can be someone who's very dominant, but there are times where someone who wins everything they do just slips up. And so I almost feel like June thinks that Inori could be that person that starts to put the pressure on Hikaru and is able to beat her. So I almost feel like he's trying to separate them. That's just my own personal fangirl opinion of the situation, but it was quite interesting. So I feel like I didn't break that down quite enough, but with skating, you can never guarantee your skater is going to win every competition, whether you're sandbagging or not, because you never know what will happen at competition. Ice is slippery. Things can get very nerve-wracking. Hikaru seems to be kind of an Alyssa Liu type who doesn't seem to be bothered by it, but she's also only like 12 years old and could definitely start to gain some of those nerves and that sort of thing as she gets a little bit older. I don't know what's going on with my lighting here. Only where special people go. Yeah, she has a very nice extension in her landing. She's still very incredible, even though you're technically at her level now. Yep, we're only through the smallest part. Okay, it's a big jump, triplets. Oh, she can't land it yet. So this is interesting. Triplets, triple loop. Was she the one who did that in competition? Yeah. And remember, that is the most difficult combo that any woman did at the Olympics. Triplets, triple loop is what Alyssa Liu did in the short program. And it has the highest base value. It is the most difficult. You had to be foot perfect for it to work. So that's not an easy jump at all. Not an easy jump at all. Like most senior women opt to do a toe at the end instead of a loop. Worth less points, but much more steady. So it's interesting that Inori is already like, everyone here can land a triple Lutz but me. I think I've talked about this a little bit, but it's kind of interesting to see from the perspective of when you go to like a training camp or to an ice rink where a lot of high level skaters are, which I did a couple times when I was younger, you either feel like incredibly inspired by the high level of people that are training at this rink, or you're gonna freak out because they are all better than you. I was somewhere in the middle. I would be inspired but also be freaking out the entire time if I went to a rink where higher level skaters were doing like triple jumps, because at my rink most of us were doing doubles. Like there weren't too many people doing triples. Like occasionally there would be someone working on them, but for the most part we were all kind of in the same pool of just like not really gonna go to the Olympics, nothing crazy like that, not really aiming for international success, just kind of loving skating, right? But yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. I feel like when skaters go to a rink or to a training camp where everyone is really high level, like of course in this situation, these are all skaters that she just beat in competition, by the way, but they're all like landing triple Lutz and you're the only one who can't. It could just mess with you, for sure. Make you lose a lot of confidence. That'd be impressive. Ugh. Yeah, it surprised everybody. Yeah. So, okay. So I kind of understand where he's going with this. So, because in my own skating, and I've talked about this, I was going for like a lower base value program and going clean, which of course didn't necessarily work well for me. Because I fell on my second axle, which is dumb, and I've never done that before. Because I was so focused on just skating clean, like maximizing my GOEs and my PCS so that, you know, I could just go out there and skate a clean program that the judges could enjoy. My base value is a lot lower, but, you know, it kind of relies on other skaters making mistakes. Well, in the case of Inori, her base value wasn't that much lower, but because she was doing these specific programs, running programs takes a lot of time, and making sure the jumps for those programs are ready takes a lot of time. So you're not going to have as much time during the competition season to work on higher level jumps. The same can go for me. I want to add a double sow to my program, and it's oh so close. Like I was on the cusp of adding it for sectionals, but because I've been very sporadic with practicing it since I've been focused on running programs and making sure that my axle is good and making sure my spins are good and like making sure the program's a full cohesive piece that when I go to sectionals next week, I can skate it clean and make it look nice and enjoyable. Like we've been working on my components, we've been working on being more expressive and some of my edge work, right? We haven't been spending much time on my double sow. So I understand where Inori's kind of in this pickle is they focus so heavily on just having a clean skate, which worked for her, that now she hasn't had the time to work on these other jumps. So her success rate of these other three are really freaking high, but then she pretty much hasn't been working these other jumps at all. So it's like, it's give or take. Do you want to do the clean strategy and work on all of that and make sure all those jumps are perfect and let the higher level jumps kind of sit by and wait, because at Inori's level 2, like that's a pretty tough strategy, because for me, like at my level, a lot of people do make mistakes. Like we're all adults, we're just trying to do our best, right? So I'm very reliant on other people making mistakes, which is likely going to happen. Inori, she can't be like that, because yes, a lot of people made mistakes at the block championships, but I think they will not do that at All Japan's. So he's right. Might have been a setback. Ooh. You need to stop working on it. Yeah, I mean, it's... I do feel like Tsukasa's lack of experience is showing with his strategy. I understand where he's coming from with putting like all of his chips on her winning that block championships, because she is now, like, people recognize her, people understand her. However, it might have been better to just aim for qualifying. Just aim for the top 5 so that you can focus more heavily on getting these jumps for All Japan's, because All Japan's is what matters, right? There's way more media. All Japan's is where there's going to be, you know, the opportunity to put yourself in the selection pool for like juniors the next year, that sort of thing. So on one hand, I agree with this guy and I say, yeah, like Tsukasa's lack of experience might be showing here, but I also feel like Tsukasa maybe has something else up his sleeve just because of the way the show is. But it could just be that Tsukasa, it's part of being a new coach and not really knowing all of the ropes of these competitions. Just wanting your skater to win is very normal, but you have to be very careful when it comes to like these qualifying types of competitions. Hikaru just looking at her and skating away was interesting though. I thought she was gonna sneeze. I was about ready to be like, bless you. Oh, she knows her sister? Aww. That's cute. She was a little bit extreme. Oh, look at baby Nori. It might be a family family blood. It runs in the family. I like how they're making her seem so old, but in my brain, like, they're making her like a full-on adult. She's in juniors, which means she's like 16 or younger. And they're like, this is an adult woman. But it's kind of funny because, like, I think it's just more from the perspective of Inori and all these skaters who are like 10, 11, 12, right? She seems very old because when you're that age, 16 seems like a full-on adult. But for me, I'm like, man, they're acting like she's this 25-year-old woman with all this maturity. And I'm like, she's in juniors, which means she has to be under the age of 18. Jeez. So Inori to defend her and not herself. Yeah, you can't be the skater that is like, you can't be the skater that's like, oh, if only I'd landed that jump, because that's the point of competition. I talked about this when I talked about the Olympics last week. So many people want to throw their hat into the ring and say, it's not about skating clean, it's about who's the best skater. No. It's a competition, so it is about skating clean. If you are the best skater and you skate clean, then you should win. But if you are the best skater but you can't skate clean, someone who's maybe not quite as good or whatever, you know, not as fast, if they can go out and skate clean time and time again, they're gonna beat you, which is why Alyssa Liu beat Kaori Sakamoto. You cannot be someone who's like, oh, I would have won if I hadn't have made mistakes, or she would have won if she hadn't made mistakes. She only won because others made mistakes. That's competition. That's the point of our sport. And it goes back to what I was saying with like Hikaru earlier, is Hikaru is the best. However, is she going to be able to keep up with this mindset? Is she going to be able to keep skating perfectly clean? Because if she doesn't, someone will be there to take her spot. because it's competition. You cannot be someone who's like, if I only just hadn't fallen, unless you're like the type where it's like, okay, I'm analyzing my scores. If I hadn't fallen on this jump, I would have gotten X amount of GOE and this is where my score would have been. Because like I was doing that after my competition. Okay, if I hadn't have fallen, like where would my score have been, to like analyze how I did. But it's more of a like, you can't be a skater that's just like, if only I'd landed that jump, I would have won. Because it's like, it's a competition. If you can't land it in competition, then you're not gonna make it. She's being very mean. Like, for the record, she's not necessarily wrong. I feel like she's gonna end up loving Inori. God, this music feels so much like My Hero. Okay, Inori. I was not expecting her to go that route. They all have abs. Same. Literally, that was not the route I thought she was gonna go. Yep. I mean, we all work hard. Our core strength is one of our most important things, so. All Japan's is gonna be the frickin' movie, isn't it? I'm gonna have to wait God knows how long. Yeah. Yep. Many times at the end of the day, too, it's a competition of GOE. If a bunch of people skate clean, it comes down to who's the best. Well, she's saying she only has 2 weeks. I'm gonna have, okay, I need to go back and see what she was writing down, because it looked almost like 2 weeks? Nishukan, yeah. So I'm assuming today's the 8th, and All Japan's is here, so she's calculating that she has 2 weeks. Zen, Nihon, Novice A. Yeah, so I think it means that she has 2 weeks until Nationals. 2 weeks until All Japan's, which is not a lot of time to nail jumps in between. Like I said, I wanted to add a double sow for sectionals, but I only had 3 weeks in between. It wasn't enough time. Yeah, but like that's barely any time. Like in the real world, that's not enough time. You gotta run with the program that you had, because you can't. But this is an anime, so I feel like she can do it. Well, and Hikaru does a triple axel, doesn't she? So he has been thinking through all this. That's why I was like, I feel like it could be because of his inexperience, but he might have a plan. Because if there's one thing Tsukasa does have over, like, a lot of the other coaches, is his analytical mind. You know, the coach, I forget his name in season 1, but he was telling him, like, because you're an ice dancer, you pay attention to the details, even though, like, he maybe has never done a triple Lutz before, so he doesn't know what it feels like. He is very analytical. He pays attention to the minute details. So when the other coach, forgive me, I struggle to remember some of the names sometimes, but the other coach earlier in this episode that was like, this is going to be her downfall, is that he focused too much on getting her to win the block championships. While I do agree, like, his thought process is correct, because it could be Tsukasa's lack of experience and he just went too hard. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking Tsukasa probably has a plan for that. However, that still is, like, very much taking a gamble, and as a coach, you don't want to do that too many times, because at the end of the day, when you are a coach, you are in charge of someone else's career. So if you continue to do things that you think are going to work, but they don't, you're going to mess with your skaters' mental strength and love of skating. Like, you're walking a very thin line between pushing them, but also making sure you keep them in a space where they will be successful and not be worn down. In my opinion, that's how a coach should be. I don't think she's going to be able to get the gold medal at this. Beating Hikaru now, it's too early. And I think they're being a little bit unrealistic to be so... a jump specialist, hey? So he's having a jump specialist come in and look at her jumps. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea, because he's not a jump specialist. He's an ice dancer. So That's a good idea. What was I saying? I stopped midway through my sentence because I keep trying to talk while the anime is going, but then I have to read, so it's like, I think they're being a little bit too unrealistic by being like, gold medal, gold medal. Like, to win the gold medal at this competition means to beat Hikaru. She's only 12 years old. I feel like we're getting a little bit too, like, this must happen immediately, and it might be because, one, it's a TV show, it's not real life, so, you know, there's that aspect of it, but two, because I've never competed at this level before. I don't know what it's like to be like wanting to win, gold. But I feel like my thought process heading into sectionals next week, and forgive me for bringing it up, but that's the best way I can do it, is do I want to qualify? Yes. If I finish top 4, I qualify to go to nationals, which of course is what I want to do. Am I going into this with the expectation of winning it all? No. Am I going into this with the expectation of qualifying? Honestly, no. Like, I understand that my program is a lot easier and it's very reliant on me skating perfectly, which I hadn't done, like I didn't do a couple weeks ago. So my goal is to skate clean, feel good about my performance, and see what happens. Yes, like, there's the side of me that knows that I will be a little bit disappointed if I don't finish in the top 4 and qualify, but at the same time, for me, like, my mind always goes to, there's always next year, there's always the year after that, and even for me, there isn't necessarily that. I'm turning 30 this year, and like my husband and I maybe want to have kids soon, you know, like life changes. She's 12, so I feel like there's always like, you could do, well, I guess she's trying to aim for junior next year, but novice B is just a year older, right? I'm not exactly that sure. I think novice A is like ages 10 to 12 and B is a little bit older. Please correct me. I did not grow up in Japan, and I like for my reaction to this to be realistic, so I don't like to just Google it and tell you, because that's all something you can do. I feel like they're just being too razor focused on winning the gold medal here when literally Hikaru can land a triple axel. Like, I think we should be a little bit more realistic here, but it is also a TV show, so, you know. All right, here we go. A jump specialist to help. Jeez. Holy moly, 101? That's 20 points. Like, come on. That's a huge gap. Ugh, okay. 2 weeks? Lutz goes against your natural axis, which makes it much more difficult. And why so many skaters have a flutz, because some skaters, their bodies just can never get to that point. Okay. They know what they're doing. Did he just do a double Lutz? So that's one of my only issues, like, okay, that looked like a double because of his air position, because a single rotates much more open. Doubles are when you start to rotate with your ankles together and your arms in. Singles, you never teach them to rotate with their ankles together and their arms in, because then there's no room for when they learn doubles. That messes with me. What? I would say Inori is probably the exact opposite and cannot, I think she completely spaced. I don't think she learns well from that. Okay. They know what they're doing when they zoom in on his muscles. Oh, maybe she just gets excited. She's so excited she... Okay, yeah. Oh my god. They are so funny. A jump coach. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he that is one reason why it's good to win the competitions, because now you get prioritized. Oh Lord, that's funny. Meet at a canal? Seems dramatic. Let me just explain to you all how much I like this voice actor. Same voice actor, and then the 36 Tanjiro figures I have. For those of you who don't know, my reaction, don't understand why I just freaked out, is because that's Hanae-san, and I have literal Tanjiro things everywhere. Like, right here I have that, I have this, I have this. These are all just sitting here. I have 5 Tanjiro items within reach at all times. So anyway, that is Hanae-san, Natsuki Hanae, Tanjiro's voice actor. My favorite voice actor on the entire planet is in Medalist. Okay, I need to go back. This has nothing to do with skating, but I'm just happy his character is here. I can't believe he's in Medalist. Oh my god! What is happening? I literally have a voice clip of his in my program. So he's the jump technician. Oh, with the pole harness! Oh my god, this is crazy. This is too much. They're only 4 years apart. That's funny. So I mentioned it because someone asked me, this is a very common tool for jumping, for high-level jumping. But the coach has to be able to keep up with the skater if they want to use this. My camera's all messed up now. Oh, and okay, the color is finally going back to normal. Okay. Oh, okay, so now I'm understanding why we introduced him in that way with him fishing, because he's a jump technician who uses a fish pole harness. Oh, you're smart. You're so smart. Yes, we call that, at least in America, the fish pole harness. I think they called it that. It is kind of scary to have someone right there. And then you get a little height because he's helping you. That's the point of a harness. Don't get too used to it. That's the point of the pole harness. The harness that I mentioned connects to the ceiling is the one that the coach pulls on to lift you up. This one doesn't lift you up. It just adjusts you ever so slightly. And they can kind of keep you from falling, but that's not really the point of it. It's more to just make sure that you're properly, your axis is proper in the air. It's a very different experience than the other harness, which I don't know if they use that in Japan. They use it here, but it's gonna take a while to get used to hearing him in the show. All right, is this guy going to be the savior of Inori's 20-point gap? That's gonna be the end. Okay, alrighty. So that was episode 19. Okay, so another episode that had a lot of build-up and a lot of just, I would call it kind of one of those in-between episodes. I feel like I kind of talked about everything. I'm just really excited about Hanae-san being in this show. You know what's so funny? Okay, I'll play the clip from in case you haven't seen my competition. I did post my competition a few days ago, so if you want to watch it, I'll put it in the description or whatever. But I'll play a clip right now. So the day I competed, this is the day that he tweeted that like it was announced that he was going to be in it, and I was like, is this what happens when like the stars align? I was like, I think the stars are aligning for me on the very day that I compete for the first time, that his voice is in it.
このコーナーでは先週の動画で翻訳が大変なところだったりを紹介するコーナーです。はい、というわけでまず話をしたいのは、何人かの視聴者からもコメントをもらった、いわゆるアリサ、理由なのか、アリサ、理由なのかという名前の表記問題について触れておこうと思います。まずセカストが達した結論を先に言うと、どちらでもいいということになるかと思います。こういう名前表記の問題は翻訳では割とつきものだったりします。例えばジェームスという人がいたとしましょう。かのスパイ映画で有名なジェームズ・ボンドなのであれば、日本語の表記はジェームズで統一されています。けど世の中にはボンドさん以外のジェームスが存在します。その人はジェームズなのか、あるいはジェームスなのか、はたまたジェームスなのか、いろいろな表記が考えられます。その時に確実な正解があるとするのであれば、そのジェームズさんが日本語を勉強して、私の名前の表記はこうです、と主張した時だけだと思います。その場合はさすがに、その表記に従わなければなりませんが、私が知る限り、アリサ、ユウさんが日本語を勉強していて、自分の名前を日本語で書いたという情報はありません。そして現在、日本の各メディアで表記が統一されていませんから、結局のところセカストはどっちの表記にするのという問題になります。セカストは今のところ、表記は理由だったり理由だったりと、動画によって表記が違って決めあぐねていますが、今のところ理由表記の方がいいのではないかという気分になっています。なぜそう思ったのかというと理由としてしまうと、なんか昇竜拳で有名なあの人が頭の中でよぎってしまうのです。まあそれはそれでいろんな意味で対空がうまそうなのでいいですけどね。そしてなぜ理由表記の方がいいのかと思ったのかですが、セカストはケンガンオメガという漫画の連載を毎週読んでいるのですが、タイムリーなことにリユ、ドーンちゃんという同じ名字の名前のキャラクターが出てきてしまったからです。コメントの皆様にも教えてもらいましたが、ハリサさんは中国系で名字も漢字にすると理由なのだとか、そういった偶然がセカストの日常で重なったので、理由表記に傾いてしまっています。皆さん的にはどっちがいいと思いますか？それと、せっかく中国の人名が話題に出たので、中国の漢字と日本語の漢字についても補足しておきたいと思います。それが英語や翻訳に何の関係があるの？と思うかもしれませんが、実を言うと思わぬところで影響があったりするのです。例えば、こちらの人物を皆さんご存知ですか？これは英語の自動音声ですが、カタカナ的には中高にコンミンと発音するそうです。誰だよって思いましたか？いえそんなことはありません。皆さんよくご存知のあの人ですよ。これは諸葛亮孔明の中国語読みとなっています。そう言うとこう思う人もいるかもしれませんね。いやいや、中国語なんて知らないしわからないのは当然だろう。しかしこの言い分は英語圏だと使えなくなってしまいます。なぜなら諸葛亮孔明は英語圏でも中高にコンミンとして知られているからです。そもそも諸葛亮孔明という中国語名をそのまま日本語の漢字の読み方で諸葛亮孔明と読んでしまう現象が日本独特なのです。なので諸葛亮孔明は日本でしか通じません。それは歴史上の人物だけではありません。例えば現中国の主席習近平は日本語では習近平ですが、世界的にはシー・ジンピンと呼ばれることの方が多いと思います。なので英語の会話で習近平と言っても通じません。世界情勢の話を英語でする場合にはこういった落とし穴があると思ってください。とまあフィギュアスケート選手の話から思わぬところに話が飛びましたが、要は翻訳する場合もちゃんと名前を調べないといけないということです。それでは次に行きましょう。
Kaori is a better skater all around than Alyssa Liu.
はい、また名前の話題になってしまってすいません。ここで何を取り上げたいかというと、花さんは選手を名前で呼んでいるのに対し、字幕では基本的に名字にしているということです。これは別にセカストが好みでそうしているとかいうわけではなく、メディアとかを見ると基本的には選手はフルネームか名字呼びなので、セカストもそれに倣っているということです。じゃあなんで、司とか祈りは名前で呼んでるんだよという話ですが、キャラクターの名前に関しては、本編で使われている通称を使うことにしています。というわけで、いい加減に名前の話題は打ち切って、次に行くとしましょう。
A backflip? That's so random.
はい、ランダムという単語ですね。これはコメントでも質問が来ていたので、取り上げたいと思います。まずは辞書で意味を調べてみると、無作為のという意味が出てきますね。日本語でもカタカナでランダムというので、その意味ですね。他にもデタラメの、思いつきのという意味があります。今回の文脈で言うと、こちらの意味に近いですが、それでもいまいちわかりづらいので、状況を整理してみましょう。まず、このランダムという単語がどういう場面で使われたかというと、与高潤が司にバックフリップをしてみてという場面ですね。こういう時は想像力を働かせてみるのも大事です。例えば自分を司に置き換えて練習をしている最中に、いきなり誰かにバックフリップやってみてと言われたら、あなたは一体何と言うでしょうか？話す言語が違うとはいえ、同じ人間なので、言う内容が大きく変わるということはあまりありません。無理！他いろんな発言が考えられますが、あくまでランダム、デタラメの、思いつきのという、その意味から離れずに考えてみましょう。セカストも何度もこのランダムという単語と遭遇して、悩みに悩んで考え抜いた結果が、脈絡のない、唐突なという意味だと結論つけました。例えば、ここもバックフリップの話なんて誰もしていないのに、与高潤はいきなり、唐突に司にバックフリップやってみてと言っています。そういう唐突な場面に対してランダムと言います。翻訳ではいきなりとしましたが、状況によっては脈絡がないとかでもいいと思います。そこら辺の判断は文脈を読んで適切に判断しましょう。それでは次へ行きます。
Kaori is a better skater all around than Alyssa Liu, but Alyssa Liu can do something that Kaori struggles with, and that is just go out and do her job every single time that she skates, right?
さて、前回の翻訳はここが一番悩んだところであり、セカスト的にも未だに消化できていない部分でもあります。Go out and do her job と言っていますね。文脈を整理するとこんな感じになります。坂本香織の方がありさ、龍より技術は上だけど、坂本香織より上回っている部分が、ありさ、龍にはある。それは、滑るたびに彼女の仕事をすること。こういう流れになります。そうなると、やっぱり疑問なのは、彼女の仕事をすることというのが何を指すのかということです。この do her job という表現は後でも出てくるのですが、白状してしまうと結局のところセカストもはっきりと分かりませんでしたので、まずここでは求められた演技をすることとしました。その後にもう一度同じ表現が出てくるのですが、その時にはノーミスで演技をすれば審判の期待も高くなるという文脈でした。なので do her job はノーミスの演技をすることなのかなとも思いました。まあ結局それが求められている演技という解釈なのかなとも思いますが、ここは正直セカストのフィギュアの知識も浅いせいもあるかもしれませんが、結局のところ煮え切らないまま翻訳をしてしまった感じがしました。なのでまた有識者の皆さんの知識をお借りしたいのですが、フィギュアスケートにおける求められている演技、悪い派直訳するのであれば彼女の仕事とは何でしょうか？よかったらコメントで教えてください。さて、次が最後です。
Yeah, he wants to make her as dominant as, like, even like Kaori Sakamoto is very dominant.
このドミナントという単語は前回の本編の内容を象徴した単語ですね。辞書で意味を引くと支配的な支配力を持つという意味が出てきました。 この単語は前回の動画の中で3回出てきましたが、そのどれもが花さんは上崎光や坂本花織選手に対して使っていました。そうすると言いたいこともなんとなく想像がつきますよね。要するにここのドミナントは他を支配する圧倒的な実力を持った人、そんな風な意味があるのだと想像できると思います。ではそれをどのように表現するのかという問題が出てきますが、上崎光と坂本花織選手、この両名にふさわしい表現にしないといけません。動画を見返すとセカストはその3回とも絶対王者と翻訳していました。まず上崎光は言うまでもなくアニメ本編では無敗の存在です。数々の金メダルを獲得した与高潤とも並列の存在として描かれているので、セカスト的には絶対王者と言えると思いました。そして坂本花織選手も世界選手権3連覇という偉業を成し遂げていました。その4連覇をありさ理由に阻まれましたが、この2人の関係性が上崎光と唯一貝のりを通して本編で描かれるのではないかという話でしたね。なので坂本花織選手に対しても絶対王者と言えるとセカストは踏んで、ドミナントを絶対王者と翻訳しました。他にも無敗の存在というのも考えましたが、上崎光に対してならまだしも坂本花織選手に関して言えばキャリアを通して出た大会が全て金メダルというわけではなかったので、この案はボツにしました。まあそもそもフィギュアスケートの大会において優勝以外の成績は負けなのかと言われればそれはどうなのかとも思いますが、それはフィギュアスケート以外でも同じことが言えるかもしれませんね。皆さんは絶対王者以外にどんな表現がふさわしいと思いますか？よかったらコメントで教えてくださいね。というわけで今日はここまでにしましょう。よろしければチャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。それではまた次回お会いしましょう。さようなら。